Hello, I'm so excited to be here and talk to you about story. And I have to tell you, the first time I realized the power of story was when I won a contest that I didn't even have the criteria to enter. And it was a big one. Many of you probably remember Live with Regis and Kelly. It's now Kelly and her husband, Mark, doing the show. But Live with Regis and Kelly was ran for a really long time. And every year they did a Mother's Day makeover special. And my mother had passed away from cancer the year before. But my sisters and I thought it might be interesting to tell her story and honor her on a national stage. But the problem was it was a makeover special. So how's that going to work? So I wrote a letter, which I have here, and I'll read this to you. Dear Regis and Kelly producers, I am writing because I'd love for my sisters and I to be part of your Mother's Day makeover special. There is just one thing. We don't have a mom. She passed away last year from cancer, but we thought it would be an incredible opportunity to honor her on your show. Now, I know this is a makeover special. While we don't have a mom, our middle sister, Alex, desperately needs a makeover. The three of us girls have the same parents, but she doesn't really look like the rest of us. She really needs your help, a lot of help. Thank you. I hope we get to meet you and share our story. Danielle. Now, I know what you're thinking. That is so mean. But I'm the older sister. I'm supposed to be mean to the middle sister. It's how it works. So I sent that email in the morning, and they called us 4 hours later. And they flew us to New York, and we were on the show. Now, before you think I'm exaggerating, it's me and two younger sisters. So on the left is myself and my younger sister, Courtney, and Alex is on the right. It's like, what happened there, right? Same parents. What's going on? Here's another one. Courtney and I, we look a lot alike, right? And Alex is holding a fish kind of like a sub. I don't know what that is, but I pick on her a lot. The truth is she's amazing. She's everybody's favorite. We did get to be on the show. There's a couple of pictures. We met Lionel Richie. He was the musical guest that day. There's Regis and Kelly. She got an incredible makeover. As you can see her on the lower left there, it was just awesome. That's Lance in the top right, top left. He is Oprah's stylist. So it was just an incredible week. And the story has this sweet ending. Alex got the buzz for television production and became a TV producer in New York. And she's worked on pretty much every reality show you've ever seen, including the Thanksgiving parade, Macy's Thanksgiving parade. So it just turned out to be this incredible story. But I thought, okay, that is the power of story, because a Mother's Day makeover special, we didn't even have the criteria to enter. But what I'm here to talk about is not storytelling in the sense of being performative and being impressive. It's using stories to create connection and drive performance in the workplace. That is where the power is. That the stories have to do something for you. They can't just make a leader sound cool in a moment, right? They have to create performance. Before I get into that, we can't get into that without talking about the science of the brain. So first things first, if you are a human being, you are a storyteller. You don't have to do that professionally. You don't have to get paid to create story. Every human being is a storyteller. That is how our brains work. And I can prove this really quickly. If I were to ask any of you to tell me a story about either your kids, your pets, or your passion, not just tell me the facts. Oh, I have 3 kids and here are their ages, but here's a story about the first time my daughter went to dance lessons, or, here's a story about the time my dog got into the garbage and been a mess all over the kitchen, right? Every single one of you can tell me a story about that. We all have that ability. It's just a matter of remembering that and dialing that up. And you should know a little bit about the brain, the neuroscience too. When your brain is exposed to facts, only 2 areas of the brain light up, and it's for language comprehension and processing. And so that's why we don't really remember facts. And we really don't. So 70% of what is said when someone goes up on stage, let's say you are having a town hall and gives a presentation and it's all fact-based, 70% of that is out of the brain within 24 hours. That's just how it works. However, when you tell a story, the entire brain lights up. And that's why it sticks. All of the senses get engaged. and activated, and you remember. Stories do that. So they're very powerful in getting people to remember. More importantly, in getting people to take action. So if you really want to motivate your team at work, tell them a story about the project, the impact about it, why it's important, who is it going to affect, right? Why everyone in the room is a key player in that project. But tell the story about that. They're more likely to not only remember, to take action, because stories increase dopamine and oxytocin, two neurotransmitters in the brain. And when that happens, people are more likely to not only remember and feel good, but to take action on the story. There is a secret formula to creating those neurotransmitters in the brain, and it doesn't necessarily even have to be in this order. So instead of kind of taking you through the typical hero's journey, right, that's a little complicated and hard to remember and doesn't always work, this is much easier, and they rhyme on purpose. Captivate, relate, and motivate. If your story captivates the audience, meaning it grabs their attention, it pulls them in. Example, so you're a leader and you're getting up to talk about something you're embarking on as a company in your town hall. And you get up and say, you know, I have to be honest with you. I didn't really believe in the mission until I saw what I saw yesterday. Everybody says, whoa, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean you didn't believe in us? And everybody leans in, right? That is how you captivate. Relate. Remember that you're talking to and talking with human beings. So relate on a human level. It's okay to say, you know, I was nervous about this project, or I wasn't sure how we were going to pull that off, right? Neither did they. So they start to relate to you. They feel something in that moment. And then motivate. What do you want people to think, feel, or do after you've delivered the story? Okay, what do you want them to think, feel, or do? Some of the motivation will be immediate. I need this team to go back and come up with 3 great ideas, and then let's get back together and talk about it. Great. Sometimes it'll be long-term motivation. From now on, I want you to try things. Don't be afraid to break the system. It's okay. We're going to have to break stuff so we can break through, right? That's great motivation, not necessarily a specific call to action, but something you can leave them with. So if you remember to do these 3 things, captivate, relate, motivate, you are likely to produce those neurotransmitters that will not only get people to remember and engage with you, but get people to act. And the bottom line is that stories make us feel something. And we need to feel more than ever. The more that AI comes into our world and automates and creates efficiency, none of that is a bad thing. But the more that we as human beings need to feel. And when we feel, we remember, we trust, we connect, and we act. Stories are so powerful. Anthems, for example, would motivate men to pick up their sword and go to battle, right? Today, they make us pick up our wallet and run to the Apple store and buy that new phone, even though our phone is working just fine, right? We're going to stand in line and buy the phone on the very first day it comes out because we are so motivated. Stories do that. And by the way, you are not immune. Even if you understand all of this, stories work on you too. We root for the villain. Think about that. If you've seen The Sopranos, you know Tony, right? He's not loyal to his wife. He's a terrible friend. He's got 8 murders under his belt, many more he initiated. But yet at the very end of that show, and don't worry, I won't completely spoiler alert, but you should have seen it by now. But at the very end of that show, Tony is sitting in a diner and we're not sure whether or not he's going to get taken out. And we are on the edge of our seat. Like, oh my gosh, nothing can happen to him. We're pulling for this guy. You are rooting for the villain because the storytelling over time, over the course of the show, worked on you. You feel some sort of connection. You see yourself in him at times. You have empathy for what he's been through. You have sympathy, right? So you end up rooting for the villain. And certainly this is true for Breaking Bad, Walter White. He's a drug dealer. And yet we are rooting for him the whole time. That is a great show. Darth Vader. Okay, you might not be rooting for Darth Vader, but when he takes his helmet off and reveals that he has that tender moment where he is a father, right? You kind of have that little tug in your heart, like, do I really want something bad to happen? Oh my goodness, he was just trapped in this costume and in this life, right? Speaking of trapped, he's a monster, but he's a monster in love, and he's trapped in a city just trying to figure it out. And I might have a thing for mob movies, okay? But Michael's just trying to do right by the family. You find yourself rooting for a villain because stories work on you, even if that villain goes against everything you believe, okay? Silly example, but there's some truth in it. So my methodology, my book, talks about a framework to help you kind of wrap your head around what stories do we need to be telling to create connection and drive performance at work? Because connection is currency. When companies have people that are deeply connected to the work they do, the people they work with, the leader they work for, and the company itself, they see on average 23% higher profit. Also, people are likely to stay, give you discretionary effort, lean in on innovation, be more productive, have a higher quality product, all of the things you want. When people are personally connected to the work and the company and the people, you are likely to see the outcomes that you're looking for. And it's deeper than engagement. Engagement will give you compliance. People will perform their job, but connection is personal. It's deeper, it's more meaningful. So I want to talk to you about the 4 types of connection. So connection with the company, connection with each other, connection with the work, connection with the leader. As human beings, this is going to fluctuate all the time because the company and business fluctuates all the time. So you might have, not so great connection with the company, but really strong connection with the team. Okay, connection with the work because this week is a little bit harder. It's a little more challenging, and pretty good connection with my leader. I trust my leader. My leader has my back. This is normal, and this is going to ebb and flow. This is crazy. Deep connection in all 4 areas at all times. That's your culture champion. They're crazy people, right? I'm only kidding. They're wonderful. But this is the person who wears the company t-shirt, hat, has the mug, right? Runs around. I love this place. I love my work, right? That is not necessarily the goal. The goal is to use stories to continue to create connection in those 4 areas. But this is a red flag. If a person in your company is not very connected to the company itself, the work they do, or the people they work with and for, that is a red flag. That person's going to pick up the phone when a recruiter calls. They might be actively looking, or they might be quiet quitting. All you need to remember is that where there are low connections, stories can help. And I have some examples of the types of stories you can use, and there's a lot more examples in my book, but there's 4 maxims of storytelling. So let's go through them. If you want to connect people with the company itself, you have to find their story in your company's story. So let's say your company has a purpose, right? Whatever the purpose is, to make the world a better place, okay? Well, each individual person wakes up for a reason. They have a purpose. Can you find the intersection between their story and the company's story to make it personal? And by the way, yes, you can. I've done this exercise in a lot of different workshops, a lot of different types of people in the audience across many industries. There is always an intersection between what I care about and believe, what the company's setting out to do. There's always an intersection, and that's where it becomes personal. Quick example, one of our clients at Night Agency is USTA, the United States Tennis Association. They were launching their purpose statement. One little exercise we did that was a lot of fun is we went to their town hall. We created these paper tennis balls, and we had everybody write their personal purpose and connect it to the company purpose that was launching. They took selfies in the audience, and then we put them on the big screen, and then we focused in on selfies kind of one at a time. And everybody saw how everybody was personally connected to the purpose that was launching for the association, but also how every single person had their part in it. So this is the formula. And at the end, I'm going to give you a link where you can download this and every other cheat sheet so you can use stories to create connection. So the purpose or mission of the company, the personal why of each person, and the intersection. So an example would be, as a partner at Night Agency, I use storytelling to create belief, which helps us build business through human connection. Building business through human connection is our purpose statement. I love to help people realize who they are and what they're capable of. That is really what I love most about our work, and I get to do that and bring our purpose to life at my company. Okay, so that's connecting people with the company. Let's connect people with the work. This is a little bit more immediate because the work changes. So how can we connect people to their work? By amplifying the impact with the work that they do. So an example, Starbucks sells coffee, but that's not what they really do. What they really do is create places for people to connect and belong. So it's not just a coffee shop, it's a place to connect and belong. It's bigger than that. You can find that story behind any project, any product, any service. So here's an example using the formula. This is a benefit. Now I'm speaking to HR people. This is a benefit. But what it really means to you is this. And let me tell you a story about that. So at MasterCard, they were having a challenge getting people to understand globally what types of benefits they offer that are more standout and unique. And it's a great story to tell because if you go through the exercise of finding benefits that are really special and impactful to your people, you want to make sure that they take advantage of that. One of their benefits was to give people 5 days or $500 to go and a match program to go do something charitable, something that they find important in their life outside of work. So a group of people got together, 37 people, and they climbed Kilimanjaro together, raised a bunch of money, which MasterCard matched, and had a beautiful story to tell about it. So now it's not just a philanthropy benefit, it's a story, right? And it's a story with a face and faces in this case. And it's really compelling. So now that gets your imagination. Ooh, what could I do with 5 days, $500 and a match program? What could I do with that, right? So that's just an example. So the work has to have meaning behind it. And when you can attach that meaning of the impact and then tell a story, people start to their hearts get involved. They become personally connected to the work that they do. Okay, let's move on. Connection with the leader. The leaders have to be human now more than ever. So how do you connect people to the leader? Okay, you make them human. Leaders can share stories of lived experience. A leader's been around for a little while. That's how they became a leader most of the time, right? So they have experience. They have things they've learned along the way. They've had, projects that they've really screwed up on and overcome and what they've learned about it. They've had challenges such as overcoming imposter syndrome or a fear of presenting in front of a group, and they've learned to overcome those. Sharing those stories humanizes the leader and teaches things to the team that they will never learn in typical training. And a little word on vulnerability, because everyone gets nervous about being vulnerable. Share a scar, not an open wound. Share something that you had a real hard time with. You figured it out, you've overcome it, and you've learned something on the other side, right? Versus getting in front of your team and saying, I have a real problem and I don't know what to do and the ship's going down, right? The team wouldn't know what to do with that. But share a scar, share something that you've learned, especially moments when you failed as a human being, as a leader, as an employee, and what you've learned. So you can either, these are two easy ways to do it, share a time when you screwed up and what you learned, or share a story behind something you overcame, like imposter syndrome or fear of speaking. Okay, that's one of many ways you can do this. And then finally, how do you connect people to each other? You share stories of who you are outside of what you do. And when you do that, you have more dots on you to connect with other people. So for example, picture these 3 facts as dots on me. I'm an author, I'm a partner at Night Agency, and I'm a podcast host. Boom, boom, boom. Not a lot for you to connect with, right? It gives you a great sense that I probably should be here speaking. I've got the credentials, but that's about it. But if I start to share, I was a dancer for 21 years. I did ballet. I am obsessed with dark chocolate and pizza. I have a dog. Her name is Cannoli, and she is the love of my life. I'm a city girl. I really love Venice. I love to get lost there. I start to say these things. Oh, 90s hip hop. I can't live without 90s hip hop. you start to hear these facts about me, and then I can tell stories about those. And it's like, oh, she's a real human being. And I do too. And I can connect with that. Oh my gosh, I went to this concert. You would have loved it. We start to become more and more human. If you want to go deeper, share the story of who you are in this way. What describes me versus what defines me. We often stop at what describes me. What describes me, as I mentioned earlier, partner at night. I'm an author and a podcast host. I'm a master storyteller. But none of those things are what define me. I was raised by a single mom, and I lost her too soon to cancer. I've actually had a lot of loss in my life. Outside of my mom, my entire family has passed away other than my 2 younger sisters. And my story really has shaped me, but it's been very hard for me to share because it's painful. But out of that, I created a career out of helping people share their stories and become empowered by them, because I know that we're all carrying things that we don't see. So that's really more of what defines me. Now you get a little more of who I am as a human being. You can do this exercise with your team. You'd be surprised how much more bonded you feel and how much more you appreciate each other as human beings. So again, this cheat sheet is in the link that I will give you at the end of this. Now, to wrap it all up, I have been interviewing people for more than a decade of my career, from Fortune 500 CEOs to frontline workers, janitors, teachers, engineers, everyone you name it. And I've compiled some of the best snippets of the best people stories, and I would love to share that with you.
You just never know what somebody is going through. People are in pain. People put a smile on their face. They get up every day and just go through the monotony of life, but you don't know what they're dealing with.
This is the kind of company that we work for. When my son passed away this year, they were there at the memorial service.
How you gonna make me cry? I was married to an alcoholic, abusive partner.
A year ago, my son went into the Navy. And he ended up getting medically discharged because he had a seizure when he was in boot camp. So,
I was in Thailand in 2004 for the tsunami.
I mean, it happened in front of me. This guy killed my little brother in front of me. And yeah, that changed my life and made me connect.
I decided to become a police officer because I've always had a passion for helping people. Growing up, we didn't really have a positive outlook on police officers. My dad was in and out of jail. He had a drug addiction.
So what we do is we go to a school down in Baltimore City. We wash over 500 kids' feet, give them new shoes and new socks. So it really made me feel like, wow, I'm blessed to even, I have new shoes and socks all the time, so I can do this for a kid every day.
Yeah. He loves that.
In the mornings when I get to the branch, I always tell it's early, super early, and my wife might not wake up to it, I don't know, all the time, but I send her, I just got to my purpose-driven career, just because I feel like it's just changed my life and my family's life for so much good.
So tell me, what makes you unique?
Yes, I'm a white male, but I'm not, right? Portuguese heritage, Portuguese descent.
And quite honestly, I don't think that I'm unique than anyone else. I think there are different facets of who I am that someone can relate to. Either they can see that I'm African American, that I'm a gay man, that I work in a corporate environment, that I have a family that lives on a farm.
I was raised in a Christian family and Christian household with great parents, but I really didn't understand, I guess, my faith, to be honest with you.
So they gave her a bonus for our IVF. That's why we have our daughter. And so I think that's why Lockton probably holds a really special place for me, is because I was sort of the recipient of what was maybe the most impactful Lockton moment you could have.
Oh, shoot. I haven't told anybody at the plant, except for like HR and my manager, because if anybody finds out,
like they're gonna hold a party and stuff, and I'm really like anti-social, and like I'll let them find out after the baby's born. No.
What is it that you want your children to know and remember most about their dad?
I wasn't afraid to hug him. That was a trick question. You should have prepared me for that one. Wow.
If there's a movie and my husband doesn't want to see it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to the movies, and I'll sit there and just enjoy being with myself, which is something that in the past probably I probably wouldn't have enjoyed as much. But just being with me and appreciating myself now, I think that's my new me.
So everyone has a story. It's how you navigate that story. It's what you decide to do with it.
That usually gets people emotional. So if you shed a little bit of a tear watching that, you're in good company, because it's probably one of the most human compilations I've ever seen. It just is really the raw, honest, authentic human truth in these moments. And I just love sharing that because those stories are just incredible. So it's a great reminder. Every single one of us has a story. And every single one of us is a storyteller, and we all need connection. Stories are the best way to do it. If you want to connect with me, I would love that. This QR code will go to my LinkedIn. I have a newsletter now. You can learn more about my book, learn more about what Night Agency does, and feel free to send me a note, and I'm happy to answer questions or brainstorm with you. And I just love meeting people. So thank you so much for being a part of this session.
Thank you so much, Danielle. I've obviously seen that video once before, and it was more powerful the second time around. It was very powerful the first time around, but and just thank you for taking us through what you've just taken us through. Also love Venice. I regret going there too late. I mean, I should have been there many years before, but it's such an amazing place, and I've just scribbling so many notes. I obviously need to read the book, and I wish I had longer to talk with you now and ask you a few questions, but we do need to move on to our second storyteller of the day. Absolutely absorbing session, and I would highly recommend anybody to connect with you on LinkedIn in the ways you just said. So very grateful, and thank you so much. Is there anything you'd like to say to finish off?
Yeah, the only thing that I didn't mention just now is I went very quickly through the content because I wanted to give you the full picture. I do and have been on a circuit speaking and workshops where we actually practice each of those exercises. It's really, really powerful. It not only gets people to understand it, but gets them to feel it too. And that's the best way to connect. So if you are interested in that for your leaders, yourself, your frontline, let me know and we can connect on that as well.
Thank you. I mean, there's just so many things sparking off in my head. I was singing Don't Stop Believing for a while because of the Tony Soprano reference. So that's probably going to be going on all night now. So thank you for that. But yeah, thank you so much. It was a special session. I'll put my teeth back in. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. You as well. Great to see you again.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.